North Korea has long been a source of intrigue. There is very little of what we know about this country. Still, as the world becomes more innovative and multiple channels of communication emerge, more and more information about what goes on inside North Korea is being leaked to other countries. From the army of teens, who serve the leader to the punishment of 3 generations and the pretty corrupt election system. Here are 20 dark secrets North Korea doesn't want you to know about. Number 1. The people of North Korea do not call themselves North Koreans. The Korean Peninsula historically has a rich legacy of being a singly unified country for extended periods. However, this unity was fractured when the 2 sides of the nation separated following World War II. From North Korea's perspective, there is no division. Technically known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, they regard themselves as the legitimate representatives of all Koreans. Despite only holding control over the northern part of the Korean peninsula, they see themselves as the true embodiment of Korean identity. In the eyes of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the people residing in the southern region are also considered citizens of the nation and thus fellow Koreans. However, they believe that their compatriots in the south are subjected to oppression by an illegitimate government. Number 2. Not allowed to laugh. Imagine not being allowed to laugh, drink, or even go shopping for 11 long days, all because North Korea was commemorating the 10th anniversary of Kim Jong-il's death in 2021. It's a duration longer than you might expect. On December 17th, the day of Kim Jong-il's passing, even grocery shopping was forbidden. North Koreans take mourning very seriously, and violating these rules can result in arrest and severe punishment. During this period, Kim Jong-un led various events to honor his late father. He notably donned a stylish black leather trench coat. Throughout the country, North Koreans paused, showing their respect by standing still and bowing in homage to their former leader. Kim Jong-un reportedly went so far as to order others not to wear leather coats resembling his own. Fashion enforcement officers patrolled the streets, confiscating any such coats seen on individuals. It was crucial for him to avoid any wardrobe clashes. Number 3. North Korean elections. In North Korea, elections for the Supreme People's Assembly take place every 4 to 5 years, while votes for local people's assemblies are held every 4 years. However, what might come as a surprise is that these elections aren't highly regarded by international observers. The reason for this skepticism lies in the fact that all the seats in these assemblies are consistently won by the Democratic Front for the Reunification of Korea, a political entity under the control of the ruling Workers' Party of Korea. While the reported voter turnout is close to 100%, and it appears that nearly everyone supports the candidates, many argue that these elections lack authenticity due to the absence of genuine competition or choice. Critics contend that these elections resemble more of a political census than a true electoral process, as the outcomes seem predetermined with no viable alternatives. Voting for anyone outside the approved candidate could lead to charges of treason, potentially resulting in severe consequences such as job loss. Despite the appearance of fairness, these elections ultimately serve to consolidate the power of the ruling party. Number 4. North Korea, Camp 22. Camp 22 in North Korea stands out as one of the most brutal prisons in all of Asia. This massive facility covers an area of 87 square miles and houses approximately 50,000 inmates, a majority of whom find themselves incarcerated for challenging the government in various ways, often resulting in lifelong sentences. The prison is fortified with electric gates, barbed wire traps, and a contingent of armed guards, all in place to safeguard the imposing structures within. Inside its walls, inmates endure extremely harsh conditions, including grueling labor, meager food rations, and routine physical abuse. Notably, there have been reports suggesting that Camp 22 shut down after its warden and another soldier managed to escape to China. The warden's decision to flee is significant because this role is of utmost importance and is directly appointed by the National Security Agency. Speculation arises that the warden might possess confidential information about high-ranking officials. Camp 22 gained notoriety for its inhumane treatment of prisoners, including daily beatings and the infliction of various forms of torture. It was a shocking revelation for outsiders when they learned that a staggering 20 to 25% of prisoners perished each year due to the brutal living conditions. This grim reality underscores the oppressive nature of North Korea's government and its willingness to go to great lengths to suppress dissent and maintain control over its populace. Because these prison camps are shrouded in secrecy, gaining a comprehensive understanding of the ordeals faced by those confined within remains a challenging task. Number 5. North Korea has the fourth largest army in the world. During the 1990s, Kim Jong-il introduced Jonguns, a military-first policy that significantly reshaped the future of the country. This shift towards a heightened military focus has led to North Korea now boasting the fourth largest active-duty military force worldwide, comprising approximately 1.21 million troops, equivalent to 4.7% of the country's total population. However, the scope expands significantly when considering the total military personnel count. This figure encompasses nearly 10 million individuals, encompassing current active-duty personnel, paramilitary forces, and reserve units. In North Korea, mandatory conscription applies to both men and women, marking a key contributing factor to the nation's substantial military numbers. Initially, conscription was obligatory solely for male citizens until 2015, while women had the choice to enlist voluntarily. Subsequent changes in policy mandated conscription for women until the age of 23, mirroring the commitment required from their male counterparts who typically serve for a minimum of 10 years, commencing their military service at the age of 17. Number 6. Kim Jong-un's Army of Teens. North Korea is a country shrouded in strict rules and veiled secrets. For the majority of its citizens, daily life is marked by hardship, characterized by food and energy shortages, public executions, and relentless exposure to state propaganda. However, there exists a small, discreet group of women, estimated to be between 30 and 40 in number, who inhabit a vastly different reality. This is a facet of North Korea that the regime would rather keep hidden from the world's view. These women are members of the Gepe Unjo, or the Happiness Squad, and they are handpicked to ensure the contentment of Kim Jong-un, the supreme leader, and his inner circle. In return for their services, they enjoy luxurious living arrangements and access to considerable wealth in the form of household luxuries. The specifics of their lifestyle are best left to the imagination, but it comes at a significant cost. These women are effectively coerced into their roles, and the ruling elite expects unwavering compliance. Refusal is not an option, as the consequences could be severe, including dire threats to their entire families. The origins of this practice can be traced back to Kim Jong-un's grandfather, Kim Il-sung, who initiated the deployment of such pleasure teams in the 1970s. For decades, the existence of these teams remained hidden, but the accounts of defectors have shed light on this obscure aspect of North Korean society. While the practice briefly halted, it resumed in 2015, dispelling the notion that it ceased due to Western influences. Instead, it persists in secrecy, offering a disconcerting glimpse into the clandestine lives of North Korea's ruling elite. Number 7. Only 2 countries have visa-free travel to North Korea. If you don't hold a Malaysian or Singaporean passport, you'll need to apply for a visa to enter North Korea. Even if you do meet this requirement, the process is not straightforward. Travelers interested in visiting North Korea must make arrangements through a state-approved tour agency. North Korea enforces strict regulations on who can visit the country, maintaining a tight grip on tourism. All tours are exclusively organized and operated by state-owned tourist offices, consisting of 4 main companies. The majority of tourists visiting North Korea are from China. Travelers can only enter North Korea through tightly controlled tours accompanied by guides. Throughout their stay, tourists are constantly under the guidance of these escorts, ensuring they are never left alone or allowed to explore independently. Number 8. North Korean TV. In North Korea, the North Korean Central Broadcasting Committee and the Propaganda and Agitation Department of the Workers' Party of Korea exercise stringent control over the television content that is broadcast within the country. Remarkably, nearly every household possesses a television set with access to both traditional and digital broadcasts. Television in North Korea is centralized, serving as a powerful tool for the government to regulate the information and entertainment accessible to its citizens. The country operates a limited number of television channels, precisely 4, which are entirely state-run, further reinforcing the government's control over the media landscape. These channels include Korean Central Television, which focuses on historical propaganda, news broadcasts, and emergency communications, Mansudae Television, dedicated to educational programming. Ryong Namsan Television, tailored for student audiences, offering educational content. And Athletic Television, features broadcasts of competitions involving North Korean athletes and documentaries related to sports in North Korea. North Korea has taken a calculated approach to limit the types of televisions it allows within its borders. The government selectively sells TVs equipped with PAL and DVB-T2 systems, thus preventing the populace from tuning into broadcasts from South Korea or China. This restriction is designed to control the flow of information and prevent North Koreans from gaining insight into the developments of these more liberal societies, particularly in China. The North Korean government exercises strict authority over the television content aired in the country, with a predominant focus on promoting the leader and disseminating state propaganda. This tightly regulated television environment serves as a means for the North Korean government to shape public perception and maintain its control over the flow of information and entertainment. Number 9. Blue jeans not allowed in North Korea. In North Korea, blue jeans are strictly prohibited due to the government's perception of them as symbols of American imperialism and Western influence. The ban on these garments is intended to convey a clear message of the government's disapproval towards the West, particularly the United States. However, the restrictions on fashion extend beyond the prohibition of blue pants. The government exercises authority in dictating what people are allowed to wear, thereby ensuring conformity with its ideals and preventing foreign influences from infiltrating the country. This preoccupation with controlling the attire of its citizens appears to be part of a broader strategy aimed at shielding the nation from exposure to life outside its borders. For instance, the government deems high-heeled shoes as overly extravagant for daily wear, mandates that men keep their hair short, and enforces specific guidelines for women's hairstyles. Additionally, garments such as skirts and dresses exceeding knee length, as well as clothing that is too form-fitting or revealing, are not permitted. Interestingly, the ban on blue jeans has given rise to a clandestine market for Western-style clothing. Some North Koreans manage to acquire blue jeans and other prohibited items, wearing them discreetly as a form of resistance against the repressive government while embracing symbols of freedom and modernity. Despite the stringent regulations surrounding blue jeans, there have been reports of North Korean leaders and government officials secretly donning Western-style clothing, including blue jeans, in violation of the rules. This double standard underscores the stark contrast between the lives of the ruling elite and those of ordinary citizens who are compelled to adhere to the government's oppressive directives. This disparity may sound familiar in its reflection of similar dynamics elsewhere. Number 10. Power outages. In January 2014, an astronaut captured a striking image of North Korea and its neighboring countries while aboard the International Space Station. This photograph vividly illustrates the stark contrast in nighttime illumination between North Korea and its more well-lit neighbors, South Korea and China. The disparity was quite evident, with North Korea appearing notably darker. Over the past few years, North Korea has made some efforts to improve its nighttime lighting, albeit at a slower pace compared to its wealthier neighboring nations. Notably, Kim Jong-un's development initiatives, including the establishment of industrial centers, housing projects, and construction sites, align with the regions that have seen improvements in nighttime illumination. A prime example of this transformation can be observed in places like Samjiyoung, where entire towns now appear as tiny dots in nighttime images. Despite these endeavors to boost energy generation, North Korea still grapples with inadequate energy supplies. The completion of the Orangchong power plant, a project spanning 4 decades, represents a significant step toward addressing this challenge. However, North Korea's nighttime illumination remains less vibrant than that of countries like Myanmar and other developing nations. To tackle its energy-related issues, North Korea faces a set of fundamental challenges. These challenges include a lack of adequate infrastructure, international isolation, and limited access to modern technology. Furthermore, the country's energy woes are exacerbated by its reliance on outdated energy systems. Addressing these multifaceted problems will require substantial changes and advancements in North Korea's energy sector. Number 11. Making international phone calls is strictly prohibited. In North Korea, it's against the law to make international phone calls. An Amnesty International study has shed light on the North Korean government's firm control over communication technology, particularly in its dealings with countries it considers adversaries, and there are quite a few of those. Interestingly, North Korea boasts a mobile phone network with over 3 million users. However, the catch is that foreign calls are strictly forbidden, and the network is exclusively meant for local calls. North Koreans are not permitted to contact family members who have left the country, and those who dare to make such calls face the grim possibility of being sent to detention camps or political prisons. Arnold Fang, a researcher with Amnesty International in East Asia, strongly emphasizes that fundamental human needs, like the ability to communicate with family and friends, should never result in arrests and punitive measures. In recent years, the North Korean government has been tightening its grip over telecommunications, especially since Kim Jong-un assumed power in 2011. This heightened control is driven by a growing apprehension of the perceived threat posed by modern technology. Number 12. North Korea's Internet Rules. North Korea's internet regulations are quite peculiar, reflecting the government's firm control over information and technology. This control is particularly evident in how North Korea manages internet access. To own a computer in North Korea, individuals must obtain permission from the local government, and all personal computers must be registered with the police, a process akin to owning a dangerous weapon like a shotgun in most other countries. Furthermore, the ownership of fax machines by regular citizens is largely prohibited, and even sending a single fax requires approval from a high-ranking official. Surprisingly, the possession of pirated DVDs featuring South Korean TV dramas can result in severe consequences, including imprisonment in a work camp, even if one is merely caught with them and not engaged in selling. Despite these stringent rules, North Korea does offer limited internet access, albeit under close surveillance and with significant restrictions. Their version of the internet, known as Kwangmyung, is a tightly controlled and restricted network that differs significantly from the World Wide Web. Information on this intranet is meticulously filtered, with the government selecting and overseeing content to ensure alignment with state ideologies. The rationale behind North Korea permitting any form of internet access remains somewhat mysterious. Some experts speculate that it enables the government to monitor and spy on its own citizens, while others believe it may be intended for potential cyber warfare against other countries' computer systems. North Korea has also developed its operating system called Red Star OS, a heavily modified version of Linux, which the government actively promotes to maintain strict control over how computers are used within the country. Number 13. North Korea has its own calendar. The Juche Calendar, rooted in North Korea's distinct ideology known as Juche, serves as the country's unique method of measuring years. It commences with the birth of Kim Il-sung, effectively designating Juche Year 1 as 1912 in the Gregorian calendar. This calendar was introduced to the public 3 years after the passing of Kim Il-sung in 1993. The Juche philosophy places significant emphasis on self-reliance and the veneration of Kim Il-sung and his successors. In essence, it encourages the continuous adoration of the ruling family without expecting their assistance or intervention. On the 3rd anniversary of Kim Il-sung's demise in 1997, an official decree was issued, formally establishing the Juche calendar and designating Kim Il-sung's birthday as the Day of the Sun. Subsequently, on September 9, 1997, the Juche calendar replaced the Gregorian calendar in official documents, media, and public records, coinciding with the day of the foundation of the Republic. The adoption of the Juche calendar underscores the North Korean government's commitment to cultivating a cult of personality around its leaders. It serves as a potent tool for perpetuating the remembrance and celebration of Kim Il-sung and his successors within the nation's culture and daily life. Number 14. The 3-generation punishment rule. North Korean law adheres to a harsh principle known as 3 generations of punishment. Under this system, if an individual is convicted of a crime, the repercussions extend not only to them but also to their children and grandchildren. This policy serves as a brutal means for the regime to maintain tight control over its population. When someone is found guilty of an offense under this approach, it can lead to long-lasting consequences for their entire family, spanning multiple generations. In some cases, the entire family may even find themselves incarcerated due to the actions of a single individual. Consequently, the sentence could entail a lifetime of hard labor in prison camps, even when the initial transgression was committed by a grandparent. Numerous human rights organizations and the international community have criticized the 3 generations of punishment policy, deeming it inhumane and a violation of fundamental human rights. North Korea's detention camps, also known as Hwanliso, have been the subject of numerous human rights reports that detail the harsh conditions and severe human rights abuses occurring within them. Number 15. North Korea claims a 100% literacy rate. Education holds significant importance in North Korea as the state offers free schooling at all levels to its citizens, encompassing kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, and even university education. While there may be shortcomings in North Korea's educational system, particularly in areas related to international relations, certain aspects, such as literacy rates, have shown notable success. Number 16. The death penalty can be given for not following the leader. The death penalty can be imposed for not adhering to the leadership in North Korea. According to South Korea's intelligence agency, an anti-aircraft gun was used to execute North Korea's defense minister Hyung Yong-cho on allegations of disrespecting Kim Jong-un, the leader. This method of execution is undeniably severe. Minister Hyun was in the presence of hundreds of officials when the incident occurred. He had been appointed as the Minister of the People's Armed Forces less than a year prior and had recently spoken at a security meeting in Moscow before his tragic end. It is believed that his failure to show proper respect to Kim Jong-un, possibly due to falling asleep at a military event, led to his arrest and execution without a trial. The use of anti-aircraft fire for execution is an exceptionally brutal and violent method typically reserved for high-ranking officials who have committed serious transgressions against the leadership. This execution took place at a military school in North Pyongyang, witnessed by a considerable number of people. Number 17. North Korea actually has its own space program. Opinions on the program's success vary depending on who you consult. The North Korean space program garnered global attention when it purportedly launched its inaugural satellite, Kwangmyong-song-1, on August 31, 1998. Although the North Korean government asserted that the launch was a triumph, no orbiting objects were ever detected as a result of the launch. Internationally, it is generally regarded as a failure. Since then, there have been 4 additional launches, with the most recent occurring in 2016. Of the 2 satellites that did manage to reach orbit, both experienced malfunctions. North Korea, however, maintains that all launches have been resounding successes. Number 18. Hairstyles. In North Korea, there are stringent regulations governing hairstyles, and both men and women can face repercussions if they don't adhere to the list of approximately 30 approved hairstyles. The available hairstyle options are largely limited to traditional looks from the past, so contemporary styles like spiky hair or layered cuts are out of the question. The government's control over haircuts is yet another example of the peculiar aspects of life in North Korea. Citizens are under constant surveillance, their freedom is restricted, and they risk severe penalties simply for expressing their individuality. Many North Koreans find themselves trapped in what feels like a never-ending nightmare due to these unusual policies. This is one of the reasons why some individuals take perilous journeys to seek a taste of freedom and better opportunities elsewhere. While strict regulations regarding hairstyles may appear strange and severe to those outside of North Korea, they are just one component of the everyday propaganda apparatus that the government employs to maintain its grip on power. Number 19. The government controls who lives in the capital. In a country where the government oversees nearly every aspect of life, including even the most basic needs like food and sanitation, it's no wonder that North Korea also exerts control over the residential locations of its citizens. In this autocratic nation, individuals must obtain government approval to reside in the capital city, Pyongyang. Furthermore, anyone entering the capital city with a dirty vehicle faces fines, and those who wish to travel outside of Pyongyang require a travel certificate. Number 20. Banned K-dramas. K-dramas have gained worldwide fame for their captivating storylines and talented actors. However, it may not come as a surprise that these popular dramas are strictly prohibited in North Korea and have been banned for quite some time. The North Korean government views K-dramas and K-pop as significant threats to their efforts to control their citizens' thoughts and behaviors. They are determined to prevent North Koreans from being influenced by these cultural imports, including the global sensation Gangnam Style. In 2022, distressing reports emerged online, shedding light on the extreme measures the North Korean government has taken to enforce this ban. Shockingly, it was reported that 2 North Korean teenagers were subjected to public punishment for watching and sharing K-dramas with their friends. This brutal incident garnered international attention and underscored the severity of the government's actions. Previously, several children had been imprisoned simply for watching Crash Landing on You, a renowned K-drama depicting the love story between a South Korean princess and a North Korean soldier. Despite the ban, there is evidence that some North Koreans are determined to find ways to watch K-dramas illegally, such as smuggling DVDs from neighboring countries like China. The fact that North Koreans are willing to take such risks to enjoy these shows in secret highlights their unwavering desire for entertainment and connection with the outside world. As we uncover more of North Korea's enigmatic secrets, it becomes increasingly apparent how challenging life must be for its people. It raises important questions about how we can raise awareness of their plight and the role that international pressure plays in driving change. Share your thoughts on these matters in the comments below. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Until next time, bye for now.